The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan was a military action taken by the Soviet Union to extend its hegemony through Central Asia. The history of conflict and its causes must first be studied. From 1837 to 1907, what is known as the Great Game was lived in Asia, a rivalry between the Russian Empire and the United Kingdom to ensure its presence in Afghanistan, a geographically strategic country seen as the point of convergence between very important countries such as China, India, and Russia. This conflict ended with the English victory turning Afghanistan into a protectorate. In 1919, through the Treaty of Rawalpindi, Afghanistan became an independent monarchy consisting of many socialist leaders who would soon take power. Sometime later, in 1973, an allied socialist politician of the Soviet Union takes power through a coup against his cousin, the King of Afghanistan. This is Mohammed Daoud. The Soviet Union supported the Daoud government, but this betrayed the USSR and imprisoned its Afghan communist allies. The Daoud government was highly repressive and authoritarian. In 1978, the same Afghan communists, Taraki, Karmal, and Amin, left prison and carried out a revolution, the Saur Revolution against Daoud, which ends up murdered by their former allies. Finally, Nur Mohammad Taraki is chosen as president of Afghanistan with Soviet approval. Something to keep in mind is the American presence in the region. The United States had strong ties with Pakistan, and this would help him carry out an operation to overthrow the socialist government in Afghanistan with the help of China, since the Sino-Soviet schism had already occurred. This was known as the Cyclone Operation and consisted of financing and supporting paramilitary groups that wished to overthrow the pro-Soviet government. In short, this would be important. Returning to Afghanistan. In 1979, an important communist politician, Amin Habibullah, betrays Taraki and murders him, with the help of the United States, to take control of the government. After that time, Soviet troops under the leadership of leader Leonid Brezhnev stationed in Kabul, capital of the Asian country. They assassinate Amin, and later, at the end of the same year, they would invade the Afghan north with great military force to reestablish a pro-Soviet government, led by Karmik Babrak, another communist politician who was imprisoned by Daoud. Taking advantage of the commotion in the country, the United States allies with Afghan tribes that reject the Soviet Union, since it rejects all kinds of religion, and the tribes are very attached to religion. To Islam, they believe that the real reason for invading Afghanistan was the infusion of atheism in the country. From 1979 to 1989, the war was that the Afghan government, aided by the Soviet Union, would attack the paramilitaries financed by the United States and the Chinese paramilitaries that would overthrow the government, on which the rest of the invasion would be based. Each side would support their allies economically and militarily. The amount of resources that both sides contributed was enormous and excessive. The Soviets were not able to repel all the paramilitaries and engage in a guerrilla war. For 9 years, they fought Mujahideen against Soviets for the control of Afghanistan, until in 1988, Mikhail Gorbachev, Soviet leader, signed the Gene Agreement for withdrawal of all Soviet troops. Finally, the socialist government would be overthrown by the Mujahideens in 1992 and would form their new government. Some data to consider about the invasion are: The invasion is known as the Soviet Vietnam by the cost of it. The USSR lost the war by declaring war against religion. The US contributed a total of $40,000 million. The Mujahideen take control of the government and attack the US. It was an invasion or an intervention.